We say what they can't radio.
What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Young, Gifted, and Black. As per usual, I got some amazing guests. I want y'all to introduce yourself, even though I know y'all and I respect y'all. Tell the people who y'all are.
Ladies first.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
Hey, I'm Teak. I have a podcast called the Untitled Podcast.
Tell me a little bit about it. Cool.
Well, that one is fairly new because I had a podcast that I did previously, which was Tea with Teak. So that was interesting.
Okay.
It wasn't about gossip. I pretty much I covered a lot of things as far as community issues, education. I did a lot of supporting other Black-owned businesses, entrepreneurs. So I did a few interviews here and there with some, guys that probably started like their own clothing line or just doing pretty much a lot of dope things in the community.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad that you're keeping it going. And Darnail, we are family, but
Yes,
you're doing
yes.
a lot of big things as well. So tell them a little bit about yourself.
A little bit. I had one of the founding shows on We Say What They Can Network.
Absolutely.
Shout outs to my man Mike, Dre, Big Shot, Reef, the whole We Say What They Can family. So
Not to cut you off, that did inspire me to start my own as well. Seeing you do your own thing and
Right.
be on it on a consistent basis. So I was like, you know what, I want to do mine. So
No doubt.
it's good to see, people that's a little older than you doing the right thing because
Right.
it makes you want to do the right thing.
cool, that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Right.
But tell me a little more.
You
You got your podcast. What else you got going on? What else you got
podcast,
going in the
man.
works?
King Darnail Show. You guys can all check in on all kind of social networks that We Say What They Can provide. Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio. Probably forgetting a few others. Can't think right now. Oh, you can go on We Say What They Can, and you can
That's
check
a
out
fact.
the podcast as well. And open up a barbershop and salon, man.
Okay, a barbershop and salon. That's a major move.
Yeah,
you
tomorrow,
said that real.
man.
You said that real calmly, like real.
Yo,
like,
yeah.
opening
Oh,
up
by
a
the way,
barbershop
like,
and
oh
salon,
wait,
like,
by the way, yeah, tomorrow.
That's real dope.
Tomorrow,
Like,
man. 258 Marcus Garvey Boulevard. Brooklyn, New York,
what made
11221.
you? What made you want to invest in a barbershop and a salon?
Yo, investing in my community the way
That's
that
a
I know
fact.
how, which is through beauty. We as Black folks, we want to get our hair done and get our hair cut and talk crap at the same time and socialize with other people, other intelligent people. So that's it. So once that kicks off, I give myself about 2 years and I'm gonna open up a bar in Bed-Stuy.
That's what it's all about, my brother.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're taking those steps forward in entrepreneurship because the community really needs it, especially because of gentrification. Everything is just like out of whack, not knocking it, but you see a lot of the people that been in the city for years upon years just be consumers, and then you see people from all over the world just coming and straight profiting off Brooklyn. Like 20 years ago, you couldn't even walk through this block. Now you see people 3 o'clock in the afternoon jogging. You like, yo, this is crazy. Like, this is really the new Brooklyn. So
3 o'clock in the morning.
in the
man.
morning, I'm sorry, y'all, not
They
3
out there
p.m.
dragging-
I'm
they're
talking
there.
about 3 a.m. in Bedford-Stuyvesant. They taking a nice little jog.
Right.
If you from here, that's just kind of different. So the topic tonight, I love Jay-Z. I remember he has a line. He says, "My family didn't have shit, so the shift started with me." Right? So what I want to talk about on tonight's episode is: are we consumers? Of course, we're not just consumers because you just made it clear that you're doing big things. But a lot of our people, a lot of our young people, have been taught to be consumers. Like, spend your money, whether it be on the newest gear, newest sneakers, material stuff. Like my man was in Baby Boy, like Guns and Butter. Like, our friends or our people that we know, they spend their money so loosely on things that won't make them money back, right? So my first question, as ladies first, are you a consumer, and are you comfortable being a consumer? Like, do you view yourself as a consumer? Of course you are a consumer.
Yeah, I'm a consumer. Of course I am. Am I comfortable with it? Not 100%.
Okay.
But I have something in the lines, in the works of not to become a consumer only pretty soon. But I'll always be a consumer because as long as my Black people are, becoming entrepreneurs and they're doing great, dope things out here in this community, I'm going to always support them.
Absolutely.
Always.
And I don't think that there's nothing wrong with being a consumer. Excuse me. I would just say that our people as a demographic has been taught to collectively just be consumers, right? You look at the NBA, look at, look at the major corporations, look at all the stuff that's happening. We tend to just be the people buying the tickets or attending the show. But when you be like, yo, how many black coaches is there? How many black organizations is owned? Like, how many, like, look at Brooklyn right now. Like, don't get me wrong. I know a lot of people of color that's benefiting off of gentrification because they kept their property and they maintain what their family helped them get or what they helped themselves get. But then I know a lot of people that's misplaced. So what made you not just want to be a consumer?
So first of all, I'm a consumer. I agree with Teak. I'm a consumer.
I am as well.
Of getting food. You know what I mean? We shopping for food. We shopping for all the other things, beauty products, clothing, television, all that kind of good stuff, right? Now, I'm not cool with it, but I know that right now, I have yet to get to that point where I'm ready to 100% support a black-owned business owner with clothing. I feel comfortable in every other way, right? Food and clothing is where I'm like, I'm not quite sure yet. We don't have a black-owned market. We don't have fresh produce to purchase, fresh veggies, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Clothing, I still find myself somewhere in Manhattan. I still find myself in other places, shopping online. So, like Teak said, no matter how you shake it, we
I think because I'm not to put anyone down with their clothing lines, but everyone seems to have the same kind of vision when it comes to, coming out with their T-shirts and their, sweatshirts and their hats. I think if it was changed up a little bit, then maybe we wouldn't go back into Manhattan.
Like what?
Like, I want to see.
Give me an example.
As a female, I don't buy a lot of T-shirts and sweatshirts and stuff like that. I'll do it out of support, but like, I want to go and buy a dress. I may want to go buy some nice slack pants or khakis or something like that. I like, I particularly like things like that. I'm not knocking the sporty wear, but I don't do a lot of sport wear,
Absolutely. What I could say is I'm an entrepreneur. I have my own clothing line. We'll start off as a T-shirt line. Now I do hoodies and sweatshirts. And I absolutely agree with you. You have professional brothers like yourself. And don't get me wrong. I shop at J. Crew. I shop at certain spots because there's certain clothes that just make me look good and just presentable for where I'm going to be at. Right. But at the same time, you got to think about it like, the people that do have the sportswear like myself, like the T-shirt, if you do support and you support consistently, that gives me, in a long-term perspective, the opportunity to have the resources to add in a dress. Because having your own clothing line is very expensive, especially when you talk about making samples. And when you get into dresses for women, that's a whole nother monster that you might not even conquer in the beginning. Because women have different shapes. You're
right
sizes.
About that, but I feel like with women, you'll get a better response or feedback from women with things like that. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand.
I think because women will, not that we will buy just about anything, but I think we'll buy, you'll see us buying a skirt or a dress before a man just go and buy a pair of jeans that you probably designed.
Absolutely.
See, I feel like the guys are going to come and buy more of your T-shirts and your hats before they buy like your jeans or your pants or anything like that. Females, I feel like we'll do more of like if you present a nice skirt, even if it don't even have to be a designer skirt, we're going to buy it. Because when we put it on, we're going to make it look good.
Yeah.
So
I get what you're saying. And I guess sometimes speaking for, I guess, all the clothing brands, all my young entrepreneurs out there pushing it, it just takes time for you to evolve your catalog. You know what I'm saying? It takes time for you to put it all together. But eventually you get it, So let's go to the next question, right? Has gentrification affected your life in a good or bad way?
That's for me? It's affected my life. It doesn't affect my life at all, actually.
Okay, how is that?
Being in education, most of the children that I deal with are still children of color. we have in my school. There's 2 kids in the school who are not black. In my neighborhood, well, so with my career choice, unfortunately, I guess I'm okay with paying $5.50 for bread and milk. But of course, when gentrification hit Bed-Stuy, the prices rise. Yeah. Fortunately for me, I'm not tremendously affected by going to the local organic store and buying milk or going somewhere. It hasn't hit me. There's people in my family, people who are close friends that I know that cannot hack it. With the rent hike in Bed-Stuy, again, fortunately, thank God it doesn't affect me. Who knows what happened to me later on, but right now I'm okay. So it hasn't really directly affected me. Now, it's affected my community, which is why I've taken it personally to not educate children in any other area but my own. Because although gentrification has hit Bed-Stuy, it hasn't changed the education system, because most people who are coming in from, say, Minnesota and they move to Bed-Stuy to go to school, they're not sending their kids to school on Lewis Avenue and Stuyvesant and Marcus Garvey Boulevard. They're sending their kids out to Red Hook, Park Slope, Manhattan. So again, that the zip code doesn't change anything. We're not getting the influx of kids who are affluent and who from different backgrounds. So again, it hasn't hit me, but it's hit my community, which is the reason why I said I might as well just invest back into my community to give people some sort of hope about how to spend money and how we should be moving forward in finances and things of that nature.
Absolutely. So what about you, Teak? Has gentrification affected you in a good or bad way, or has it affected you at all?
I mean, I won't really say a bad. It has affected us or me, but not in a bad way. I will say, as far as rent, the hike in rent, yeah, it's been a little bit costly effective. But for the most part, like other things, like he said, as far as going to the grocery store, not too much, because I guess I worked in Manhattan for over almost like 15 years. So I'm pretty used to spending, a couple extra dollars, because I would do grocery shopping sometime too from leaving from work. So it hasn't really affected me that much. But I feel like like you said, with our community, it has, especially with those who are not really used to it. It's like, to them, it's like their whole world is coming down. And it's not that serious. It's not that bad, but I can only speak for myself.
I mean, how it has affected me is that you get to see a community that is so beautiful now, right? A lot of the things are changing. Don't get me wrong, you still got your poverty-stricken pockets. Right. But you see a lot of different businesses prospering. You see a lot of different things just happening. And you don't necessarily see the people within that area benefiting from it. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be the people that own the property or whether it be the people that's running the business. So it makes me feel like we missed the ball, people of color, right? Because although poverty in the communities that we live in that's poverty stricken, although it was strategically created by the government, we still have the opportunities, like Darnail just said. Like you just said, like it doesn't necessarily affect me. It doesn't necessarily affect me neither, because I was working before I resigned from my job. I have a business. I just got my master's degree. So I'm able to keep up in the times.
Congratulations again.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. But then at the same time, it's like, this is where the topic tonight of tonight's episode came about, because it makes you see how we're really just consumers. So, somebody be like, I gotta turn up my rent, or I'm gonna make my rent $3,000. You gotta pay that, because you didn't take the time to save your money and get your own property, or you didn't take the time to get your own barbershop or your own business. So gentrification is affecting a lot of young people, because honestly speaking, if you my age, I'm 33 years old, and I got this big plan of growing my business and creating residual income. But if you just thinking about it on I'm just gonna get a career and I'm gonna build my career, and you really think about the amount of money it would take for when you have to pay $3,000 in rent, when you got to pay the car note, you got to pay the insurance, you got to pay your kid. If you have children, you got to pay to make sure it's food in the house. Where do you get money to save up for a house? So it's like it's kind of jamming a lot of my young people, because unless they're like a successful entrepreneur or they have an inheritance of cash, how do you save up? If you're trying to get a brownstone in Brooklyn for $1 million, you need about $150,000, $200,000. So can you save that up while you paying $3,000 a month? or $6,000 a month in bills. So the situation at hand is like, it's frustrating because I don't know how my friends is going to save up that money, because it's really kind of asinine to be spending $3,000 per month for longer than 3 to 5 years, because you get beat in your head. That's highway robbery. You don't agree?
I mean, of course it is, but you have to understand too. Well, I'm not a homeowner, so
Me neither. Not yet.
You do with gentrification, you have to understand too. Like me, it's just me, a single parent in a home, doing everything on my own.
Mm-hmm.
But you have where they come in and the rent is $3,000, but it's okay because you got quite a few people in there. Like even me, in the midst of looking for another apartment, I had a landlord ask me, "Well, so just get some roommates."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "I have 3." And he was like, "Oh, then you good." I said, "But those are my kids." But he's pretty much telling me to go find like 3 other people I don't even know to share this apartment with me to make up for the $3,000 in rent. And I think that becomes unfair right there to me, because it's like you have to have, no matter if you're a single parent or not, you have to have a two-person income.
Okay, I agree.
To be able to provide.
I agree.
I got a statement to make.
Give it to me.
This may sound unfair. I don't want to sound unfair, but it's just realistic. So, if a person is struggling and they're paying $3,000 as was offered to you, paying $2,500, got to get a roommate, why are you staying in New York City? Like, why aren't you trying to find some place that's, livable, affordable, and you're not going beyond your means, which is a true crutch for us as Black people. We don't want to say, you know what, I done looked at some property down in Atlanta. I done looked at something down in South Carolina. Good school system. I can find a nice little gig. People that I know that moved to North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, they get a 2-car garage, duplex,
Absolutely.
driveway, backyard.
But everybody's not going to think like that. I thought like that, but everybody's not going to think like that. Some people feel like, why should I have to leave a place that I've lived for like damn near all my life?
I can't afford it.
That's right. Well, me, I would do the same thing. Like I've done that. Like I'm gonna look, outside of Brooklyn or outside of New York. But everybody doesn't think like that. Everybody can't do that though. It's not. It's easy for some people to just pick up and go like that.
True, but I feel like when it comes to us as Black people, it's like, okay, I'm gonna struggle. I'm gonna struggle. I'm gonna complain. I'm gonna struggle until I just be proactive. Like, if it was me and I knew that I could not hack it, I'm moving to East Orange. I'm looking at Newark.
Of course.
I'm looking over the bridge where I can come back and still get to work. I'm not moving to Fort Greene. I'm not staying here. My rent is $3,000 and it's just me and there's 3 children. There's 4 children. I gotta find a roommate who I don't know.
Right.
Why not find someplace else?
Here's my perspective on this, right? The system is flawed, right? And gentrification has literally kind of pushed a lot of our young people outside of their community, right? Now, for example, I was watching this BET special the other day about the stand your ground law, and it started off with Trayvon. It was just in Florida. From Trayvon to right now in 2019, it's about 30 states right now that got your stay your ground law. So yeah, you might be like, oh, I can move out of Texas, or oh, I can move out of Florida, take this money, flip it. But at the same time, I like the laws in New York City. Like, I like the laws because although it's not perfect for people of color, it puts me in a position where you can't just pull out a gun because you don't like my skin color and then blow my head off, and then when the cops come, you sitting down and be like, oh, it was stay your ground, right? And you just walk away. No. So I'm from Brooklyn, right? I was born in Harlem. I had to move to Queens with my great-grandmother. Then I had to move to Brooklyn. I'm a New Yorker, right? So don't get me wrong. I'm going to travel the world. Once the money really come, I'm going to get property in other places. But I'm from New York City. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I don't want to move out of my community. So you telling me now that gentrification, because a lot of the people that's buying these brownstones don't even live out here. It's people from London, people from Israel, people from all over the world that's like, oh, I heard Brooklyn, a new thing. I got the credit and the money. I'm going to buy me a house right here on Macon. And then they charge you $3,000. They don't got to charge you $3,000 in rent. But see, people of color lack that collective nature. We lack that collective mindset for us to go sit down with the council and be like, nah, they can't charge that rent. Because what about the people that's coming out of college? You just saying right off the bat, well, we don't want you to ever have property. You're just going to be a consumer. No, that's not okay. So we have to, it's either we have to adapt, like you said, find hacks so we can fix the system, but then also we have to come together as a collective community, as a collective demographic, and we got to fight this. It's either more of us buy property so we can make it easier for the young people that's graduating, that's 24, 25. Why should they have to pay $3,000 in
You're
rent?
right, but we have to be taught that, because growing up, you're not in the average black home, you're not taught to your finances. You're not taught that. You are taught the struggle. You're taught how to just survive on a day-to-day basis. You're not taught anything about your credit. You're not taught anything about becoming a homeowner or anything like that when you get older. Most black family, you're not taught that. So if you don't know, how can you say they should go fight and say, oh, this rent shouldn't be $3,000? But that's not what we taught.
Here's a quote: "Ignorance is bliss until you walk off a cliff." Right. So, and it's all good, right? Until you like, oh, why nobody told me I was walking off a cliff? For me personally, I grew up understanding mortgage and property and owning houses, right? It was the second part of my life when apartments and living in Brooklyn came in, which I respect because it made me who I am. But I grew up understanding taxes and understanding, this is why I hate rent to this day. And this is why I'm working so diligently to get different degrees and to grow my business, because I don't want to pay rent, because I understand that rent it stagnates you. So you got to look at it, right? Although I understand that people of color that are strategically in poverty right now, they are that way because of systems that were created for them. That doesn't explain people like us. So I was kind of in poverty, and in certain aspects of my life, I was living in a single family house. My grandfather had to take care of me with the help of his mother, because my parents wasn't in my life, and they had to find a better way. You know what I'm saying? They had to create a better opportunity for me. So it puts me now in a mindset like, what do I tell these young people? Because just if you go right, I'm losing my train of thought, and I feel like I'm talking too fast. So you interject. I feel like you got something to say.
I want to know how we strategically, like, disadvantaged. Like, how are we strategically undertaught or untaught?
I think we were strategically disadvantaged because let's go back, right? Quick history lesson, which I'm not teaching you nothing because you're teaching.
Yeah.
So you got the 60s, you got the 50s and the 60s. Martin Luther King's Civil Rights Bill, everybody fighting for unity, for the world to kind of perceive us as equal, right? Mm-hmm. We get the Civil Rights Bill passed, we get the Voting Rights Bill passed, we get the Immigration Bill passed, and things start looking brighter. Boom, the war on drugs happened, right?
Right.
After the Vietnam War, suddenly black family structures just started breaking, right? So after black family, well, not suddenly, a lot of the black men was in the Vietnam War, and then the ones that wasn't in the Vietnam War were on drugs or were selling drugs, right? Because I don't know any people of color that know how to make kilos of cocaine. I don't know any people of color that know how to assemble and make a gun in a factory that they own, right? So you got to think about it. Where did the guns and the drugs come from in the first place? Okay. Jay-Z said it. They gave us guns and then turned around and investigated us, because that's kind of how it went, right? So the poverty-stricken environments that you're dealing with right now, they are the inheritance of people in the 80s and the 90s.
But hold on.
Before you go, let's not forget that the crack epidemic and the crack era wiped out about 80% of black wealth.
Well, what? Okay.
Go ahead.
Because I understand what you're saying. You are absolutely right. But me growing up, I grew up in a home with my parents. I grew up in a house with my parents. But the only thing that they didn't do was they didn't teach me about finances and anything like that. But that doesn't take away from the fact, I'm not saying, I think you kind of, I don't know if you misunderstood what I was trying to say, but I don't feel like because you are not, you could, like, basically you can be brought up in a household with both parents, great, careers.
And still mess up.
It's not that I messed up just because I'm not a home. Oh, but I'm just saying, because you're not a homeowner, that doesn't mean that you messed up. Like it was good. We had a pretty great, upbringing. So, which we didn't struggle at all, anything like that. But I wasn't taught finances. You understand?
Yes.
I wasn't taught, to become a homeowner, you know, at an
Absolutely.
earlier age. It was more so. It seemed like it came later on down the line with even with my parents. It came later on down the line.
Listen, to Teak's point too, I asked that question: how are we disadvantaged?
Right.
That's why.
Because
I answered that like that.
because you, how many masters do you own? One. Graduated from college, right?
Yeah, I like you.
Cool.
Thank you.
Everybody has the same opportunity that you have. So at this point, we can go back to the 60s and the 50s and talk about all the civil rights movements we want, the Cold War, Vietnam War, World War I, World War II, War on Blacks, War on Drugs, crack era. That didn't stop you. The same abilities that you have, that you pushed yourself to be greater, we all have the same opportunities. So when a person is like, damn, I'm stuck in some of the projects because crack era hit. I know a lot of people who grew up with parents on drugs, parents that sold drugs, one parent in the home, no parent in the home, granny raised them, grandpa raised them, aunties raised them, and they turned out pretty damn good. Mm-hmm. So what I feel like where we are disadvantaged at is we keep making the same fucking mistakes and excuses.
Absolutely.
Where it's like, yo, I can't get a job because gentrification took up all the jobs. Like, nah, dog, like you gotta get up. You gotta get up to get a job.
Exactly.
You know, you gotta get out there and you gotta go through the classifieds and you gotta go online and you gotta check and you gotta go how you did it. Like you are like a go-getter. Like nothing's gonna fall in our lap anymore. And this is the reason why I feel like gentrification has its pluses, but it has its minuses because we keep complaining. Like if a organic store pulls up right here, and I'm like, yo, Mike, damn, it's a new store right there. Fucking beers, $5. I'm complaining. You're gonna walk to Malcolm X to the old man store to get beer, whatever, right? We're gonna complain. Fuck this store. They're coming out taking our community. But that corner store has been abandoned forever. And me and Mike never sat down and say, yo, let's put our coins together.
Yeah.
Let's go get an LLC, Mike. Let's go get this business. Let's go get a loan. Let's invest. Let's ask Teak to put in $8,000. Let's ask Kerrick to put in $7,000. Let's make this work for us. We just keep
This race don't do
right.
that, though.
So now when that new store is up, we pissed.
Yeah, we pissed.
Yo, fuck this store. I don't need this shit. We disrespecting the store now, but all the people are doing now is come looking at property that we're not expanding on. They're like, okay, cool. This is
what we can do with it.
Right. And then we get mad. And now that there's gardens everywhere and you have white folks from Belgium and all of that planting vegetables, we pissed. Oh, they over there. My grandpops was sitting in that lot. What the hell is your grandpops doing in that lot? You know what I mean?
Well, my grandmother, she grew vegetables in our backyard.
Right?
They ran numbers up that lot.
I respect everything that you just said, but everybody sitting at this table right now is something called The Outlier. If you've never read the book by Malcolm Gladwell, it's called Outliers, and it's basically your exception to the rule. So you're an exception to the rule, and you could basically make it in any type of environment, right? So I'm not gonna sit here and say that, like, I got lucky in the sense that I had grandparents that gave me the tools and the mindset needed for me to future create success for myself. I didn't just get lucky and stumble upon success. They embedded this in me at a young age, and I was able to, like a garden, continue to water the seeds until I grew into something. But they started the process, right? Getting my master's in social work teaches me about how important controlling your mind and controlling your mindset is. See, poverty is just a mindset. So yes, some of the variables are that we're in a strategic system set up for us to fail, and that it's very hard for a person of color to make it in this country on all levels. But yeah, then the other variables are accountability. Because let's keep it real, from religion to the government to the community, people of color do not take accountability of themselves, of their communities, of their God, of their realities. We have been taught from this country to give away our accountability. So you're going to be like, nah, God going to save me. No. The government, the president is going to save me. No. The teachers is going to save me. No, you got to save you. And if you don't have that mindset and you can't control that narrative, especially for people of color, then it will be controlled for us. So I get it that we're sitting at this table and we made it through. But I know masses of young people that's not going to make it too, because like I said, poverty is a mindset. It's kind of like a disease that germinates. And if you put it in the area, it will suck up majority of the people in the room. I just got lucky. I got lucky.
No. I don't think you got lucky,
Right, I
yo.
don't think
Listen, how many people do you know that are outliers? If you had to go from like either 0 to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 60, how many outliers do you know personally in your life, in your phone?
About 15, 20.
Okay, so then we're not outliers, because if you know that book very, very well, an outlier happens from something else that takes place. It's an event that takes place that causes an outlier to happen. We're not outliers. We just, at this point, we wanted success. People that are in my phone that are friends, my friends, people that I talk to every day, they are not outliers. Mike and Dre, who they own, we say what they can, they're not outliers. They just made shit happen. And you know what? There's somebody that they looked at and they know that's like, yo, we're going to start this from this. I don't consider you to be an outlier, because you've looked at a pattern of something else to say, yo, I want that. I want success. I want this. You have a clothing line. That is, you doesn't make you different, because there's other people that you know that have clothing lines. You just want to beat the odds. Period. Teak works in Manhattan in mental health, right?
Yes.
She's a black woman working in this field for over 10 years. That doesn't make her an outlier. That makes her an individual that, can walk into a room full of other white people and people of other nationalities and be able to talk her shit. I just don't think that it's an outlier. I could be wrong, but I just think that...
We could agree to disagree.
Yeah, I just think that you made the difference. She made the difference. I make the difference. She makes the difference. Mike makes the difference. We make the difference. If a person is choosing not to, that's just purposeful ignorance. You know that you're going to suffer. Oh, fuck school. I don't need to go back to school. I'm going to hand in the corner and sell crack.
Right.
Okay, that's going to last for a little while. So purposefully, you're being ignorant to the reality, and you want to go ahead and get that fast money. At the end of the day, it's not going to work forever.
I mean, like I said, in my own personal experience, it was because of the people that I had in my life that stirred me in the right direction for me to stay on track. For a lot of the young people that I've come across that I went to school with that didn't have those family structures, it makes it extremely hard for you to say, listen, you grew up in this environment where the odds are set against you, but I need you to make it. Without that family structure, there's so many different prisons, the pipelines, there's so many different failure holes for our people, but that's a whole nother podcast, right? So let's get into the next question, right?
Let's go.
How do we encourage the younger generation to invest in business and property rather than spend their money on material stuff? Like, how do we get more people like you that you went out there and you got a salon? You said in 2-3 years, you want to get a bar. Like, Tika said she's working. She has that mindset. She might not have grew up learning finances, but now she's working toward creating that mindset. As for me, I want to create my own business. I want to get my own piece of property, and I want to get some commercial real estate where I have a boutique in the long term, and I turn that profit I turn that profit into other businesses. There we go.
She can answer that. That's a tough question. I'll let Tika answer that.
Yeah, okay. Well, one, we have to teach them. Mm-hmm. We have to teach them, and then we have to show them. And once we teach them and we show them and we see that and let them see that they can be successful, then I feel like they'll follow.
Absolutely. I agree. We have to be
it's not that hard. But it has to be more people like us that's willing to step in and teach them. Mm-hmm. But if everybody's just out for self and only trying to figure out a way how to make themselves successful and become entrepreneurs and not helping, it's not going to work.
Again, like I said, unfortunately, people of color been given a mindset where you are taught to not connect with your people, not to share your information. I went to numerous social workers. I went to numerous people of color like, yo, could you help me? Could you teach me? Could you show me the ropes? I don't want you to give me nothing. And they straight up was like, I don't got the time. Yo, I'm too busy. And I'm like, on my mind, it hurt my heart because I'm like, when young people come to me, whether they my age or younger, and they're like, yo, okay, could you teach me how to screen print? Could you teach me what you know? I'm like, yeah. What day can you meet me? Because knowledge can only become wisdom when it's passed on. And our people think that if they hold on to the information, if they hold on to the opportunity, that it's going to better serve them. But that's why we're in the predicaments that we're in.
You're right.
Because we don't share the information, and it's not intentional. Like, it's intentional for me to want to see my people win. So I'm like, oh, I know you about to have an event coming up. I know Darnail about to open up a barbershop. So, yo, let me bring them on. It's intentional. I want y'all to win. I don't want to say and be like, yo, it's about Cool for Life. Get the new t-shirt. No, let's talk about the other people that's around in the community that's doing their thing. Yeah, I happen to know y'all, but let's talk about y'all experiences. So I think that, like you said, we have to be the example. Because
I mean, it has to be enough. It can't just be a few of us. It really has to be enough of us, especially Black people, to show them the way. Because you have Jewish people that probably haven't spoken to their neighbor or someone for years, but because they want to become a homeowner or get a business, they're going to invest in them. They're going to help them out. They don't want nothing for it in return or anything like that. They probably don't even have to speak to that person ever again, but they will help them out. Mm-hmm. They will show them what they have to do to get this business or to become a homeowner or a business owner.
Additionally, what they also do is Jewish people, they spend money in their own community.
That absolutely.
So if you ever, you go to Jewish.
So it's not recycle.
they get their clothes made the same place. They get their toys from the same place. They go get their food from the same place. They get everything.
Health services, everything.
It's in the sub community. It's like the Wu-Tang line. Like, my seeds marry his seeds, marry his seeds. Like, that's how we keep the Wu-Tang money all up in the family.
That's a fact.
So they keep everything amongst themselves. So to y'all point, y'all both said the same thing. Like, we gotta like educate each other and not hoard like opportunities and ideas. They do it, but they do it with a goal, a vision, and it's like we all gonna come off. You come over here, if you're a butcher, I'm gonna go get my food, my dinner, my meat cut at your butchery, get my stuff, get my food. Then if Teak has, like, she makes dresses, I know I'm gonna go over there and spend money. The money comes right back in our community. Now we can get our own police, we get our own ambulance, we get our own car wash, we get our own school, we get everything we want because we're going around this block radius and we're spending money amongst each other. We won't do that.
No.
Let's go back.
If you got a car wash and Teak has a school and I have a key food or whatever, you're not rocking with me. The one thing I do to you wrong, I ain't going there. I ain't going down there key food. Nah, fuck that. I ain't going here. Then you're gonna tell Teak, yo, you know you be having spoiled milk in this shit, right? Yo, don't be going over there to them. And then all of a sudden, it's shared, it's spreading, and then that's it. It's done. We're disassembled at that point.
That's intentional, right? Everything you're saying is 100% right. It's intentional for our people to hate and not love and want to support each other because we have been taught that. And this is why, in as I mature in age, where I'm kind of okay. This is going to be watched when I get famous. They're going to be like, yo, he don't like white people. I'm not saying I don't like white people. I'm not saying I don't like other demographics of people and I don't want to connect with them. What I'm saying is when Martin Luther King and the civil rights movement and the freedom riders, when they fought for inclusion, for to end segregation, right? And we won, we kind of lost. Because within that idea of us saying, okay, y'all the one that told us we was inferior and we couldn't come in these places, could we come in these places now? Once they told us that we could come in these places, we did the exact opposite of what you just said. We was like, yo, ain't no, because before that, we had no other choice but to maintain our own community. Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street. There was many communities of color with people, they had their own pharmacies, their own hospitals, like they built it, right?
Best Eye.
And Best Eye.
Yes.
So when we were told that we could integrate now with white people and drink in those places and eat in those places, we lost our culture. We gave it away. We was like, yo, I'm going to fit in. We went to fit in. And now look who's fitting out. We are the ones that fit out because like you said, I never seen nobody arguing Louis Vuitton and Gucci. Yo, where did the material come from, bro? Like, what time did you get it? Yo, what time did the order come? You
exactly.
I'm not spending my $900.
Exactly.
Bro, when somebody come to get a T-shirt from me, yo, bro,
they want to know
where did your tags come from, bro? Like, what type of ink are you using? Like, actually, you know what? This is too much money, man. I can't buy that. And you like, you know what? But it's a taught characteristic because imagine if people of color, right, we loved each other. Imagine if we decided that we were going to support each other. Imagine if it was intentional that before I spend my money on any other culture, I was spending it in your barbershop, I was spending it on your business, I was spending it in the imaginary black grocery store that we need, or we was going to get our groceries or our vegetables. Imagine how powerful of a race we're the most powerful people, but as individuals, we're the most weakest. Because our power as people of color, I don't know if y'all agree, our salvation is dependent upon us connecting and us loving each other unconditionally and us supporting each other unconditionally. And since we don't do so, we're living in hell. And we're like, oh, Jesus is coming to save us. Oh, it's the demons. No, the reason why we're in this hell is because we don't love and respect each other. If people of color would just shift their mindset and 50 million people of color was like, yo, I'm loving my people. I'm not going to shoot you dead, black man. I'm not going to disrespect you, black woman. I'm going to love you and I'm going to cherish you. We would be the most amazing race. We would go back to that race that started it all. But instead, we still look inferior. You understand what I'm saying? Instead, we still are going through stuff like, oh, is gentrification affecting our communities? Yeah, because we don't lack that support from each other.
Yo, can you imagine if this area wasn't gentrified?
Yes, I could imagine it.
What would it look like? 1989, 1983, and shit would be in it.
And you probably would be scared to open a barbershop out here.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly.
I really feel. I believe that. I believe that.
I thought you was going back to the good.
Nah. It's no good old days.
It's good days.
Good old days.
Like, wow.
Dude, let's keep it 100.
Let's go back.
Can you imagine? Let's just imagine that this area was not gentrified. We would be Brownsville, Sutter Avenue, Watkins, Skink, Livonia. That's what we will be over here in Bedford-Stuyvesant. It'll be the 3 train.
Let's go back.
It'll be hell on earth. Now that's hell on Brownsville is hell on earth.
Let's go back to the conversation because I remember growing up because I was staying from Queens to Brooklyn. So in Queens, I had the 2-family house with the backyard and a garden in the back. I ain't need to walk past no lot. Me and my grandma was planting tomatoes and collard greens, right? So I had that perspective. When I moved to Brooklyn, I tried to do a Tommy from the Power Rangers kick. Like Power Rangers dude knocked me out, had me on the floor, beat the living dead out of me. Welcome to Brooklyn, right? I learned the 2 different perspectives of what poverty was and what young or what people of color that maintain a wealth within their community was. I would say that, going off what you just say, is that you have to understand that it is strategic that the community ended up like that. And honestly speaking, I know a lot of families within the 90s, when I used to leave out my house, I would go climb on trees. I would go do all type of mischievous things. And guess what? It wouldn't be my grandfather that would catch me. It would be the neighbor. It would be my aunt. It would be somebody's cousin. They'd be like, yo, what you doing up there? Next thing you know, my grandfather in somebody's apartment he don't supposed to be in because they wanted to show him how I was on the tree where I could kill myself. It was a collective idea that people raise each other. We was a village. It was like, it wasn't just one person. The community was amazing, even with the drugs, even with the war on drugs and everything that was going on. So let's not take away from that. They don't want people of color.
No, that's not anything to do with the government. That has nothing to do with the government. That's everything to do with Big Ma's dead. Like, Grandpa's dead. So Big Ma.
But you said it'd be like the 80s.
Hold on. Big Ma is no longer living. Big Mom, the grandma now is 41 years old, and she don't give a shit about the child who's in that tree because that ain't her kid.
Exactly.
So the grandmothers and grandfathers that we had are no longer living, or our grandparents are somewhere kicking their feet up because they've raised children, they've raised grandchildren, they're just sitting back retired somewhere. That had nothing to do with gentrification. All I said was, can you imagine if this area was not gentrified? Right. We can't go back.
You know what I could imagine? Could you imagine if this area was gentrified, but people of color was the ones that gentrified it? Could you imagine that? Because what my understanding is that I've been in Brooklyn. Like I'm 33. You're older than me. You understand these blocks. You understand this environment. Mm-hmm. We let the environment go. We did not take accountability over it. So now you get those same people like, oh look, I gotta spend $6 on milk. Oh look, you should have took care of what. It's still people to this day that'll be eating McDonald's and throw it out the window. I see people drinking a soda and throw it on the floor. law. We still don't value where we live at when it's gentrified. So who fault is that? It goes back to that mindset that we was given. That poverty-stricken, drug-stricken, that jail-stricken, like don't care about your environment, fuck who you are and where you are. That was given to us. We ain't come from Africa on boats thinking like that. Yo, fuck you, black man. I'm about to kill this. Nah, that wasn't our mindset. We were giving these ideas because they already knew how, they know how the human mind works. Once a certain amount of people pick up on it, it just get passed on. So what we do is we're passing on an inheritance of poverty to our fucking kids, to our people. And what we need to do is take accountability. And since my great-grandmother is dead, my grandfather is dead, nobody's here, but I gotta be the one now that give the wisdom. So when these young people hit me up like, okay, I need a mentor. Yo, okay, can you teach me? Or me just being the proof, I'm giving it to them. You giving it to them. You giving it to them. I feel like I'm the only one talking, so come on.
Nah, I don't know if we should talk after that.
I know, right? Like, was that your closing? Like,
Yeah, how much time you got over here, man?
Like, let's keep it going. All right, I got another question, right? We're gonna go to Teak. What inspired you to start your own business? Because I'm just meeting you. This is probably our longest conversation. I saw you like 15 times in places, said hello to you, and never. But I always respected your grind. Like, yo, this lady is always moving. Like, who is she about to sell something? Like, she moving? Like, I've always admired you to make me want to reach out to you to want to come on this podcast. So, what made you want to be an entrepreneur? What gave you that drive?
I mean, I want to say my people did. Like, I honestly see all the great things that, you guys out here do. So I wanted to do that. I have something in the work. I'm not completely there yet. Okay. I do have a line that I am working on that I want to bring out. But as far as like, even with the podcast, like this wasn't something that I woke up one day and said I wanted to do. It was merely in the beginning helping out a friend. Mm-hmm. And in the midst of me helping out a friend, it's like, okay, but now I need you to actually be on front line and,
do it.
And doing it. I'm like, not me, I can't do this. And it's like, no, you could do it. You'll be fine. It took some time, but after a while, I was like, okay, I can do it. I actually started to enjoy it and like it. And then it was like, now I could do it myself. But I still had I had good people pulling me with a lot of encouragement,
Absolutely.
So.
Well, I'm glad that you doing your thing. I'm glad that you pushing forward and just keep going. You'll get better by time, or you'll get better with time, just like I'm getting better with time.
And I'm gonna always be out here supporting. So if you see me, Absolutely. It's because if you got something great going on, I'm there.
Nah, you're absolutely right, because I have something going on right now, and you're here. You just came home from work. You could have went home to your family, but you found some time to support me. So I really do appreciate that.
Thank you.
Even though you answered this question already during this podcast, what made you want to start your own business?
Man, so many reasons. But for one, it's I guess it's the Jay-Z line. It's just like the legacy.
Like excellence, baby. We gonna let them see.
I just want to leave something. I want to have this barbershop be around when I'm no longer around. And have people go, oh, remember old man Darnail? He said, this is his shop. Remember, it's been there for 45 years. Yeah, remember? That's what I want.
Argued about one-on-ones and who be who.
So it's like, this shop has been here for 45 years and it's passed down. And my brother, my son, my niece, people who I've invested with and we built with, have these things. So hopefully this barbershop can eventually open up something else that I can say that I gave back to my community. I want to put different things out there. I say, if you and I, when we worked together and got a storefront and did something, or bought the building and did something, I want to be able, like, once I'm gone, like this thing should still live. It's important to want to be a part of history. Mm-hmm. I tell my students all the time. I said, like, who do you want to be? And they're like, oh, I want to be LeBron. I said, okay, that's cool. I said, but like realistically speaking, there's only about 2 LeBrons every 35 years. You could be one of them. The whole class can't be LeBron. Mm-hmm. So I said, like, what do you want to do? Like 25 years from now, how do you want people to remember you? And it's hard for kids to answer that question. When I ask adults the same question, they have a hard time answering it. Mm-hmm. And I often say to people, like, when you pass away, how do you want your funeral to look? You want people to be lined around 2 blocks. Like, they want to be out there to see you, to touch your hand, to sign your book. You want people to be outside the door like, yo, yo, I love that dude. Yo, Miss So-and-so was kind to me. Like, you want that. You don't want nobody like, man, fuck that. I'm not going. Like, nah. Like, you want people to be there. So for me, this business is just a small microcosm of what I really want, and I want my community. I wasn't born, but I was raised in Bed-Stuy. I want people to feel empowered. Damn, Darnail did this. Darnail got a whole bunch of people who invested in him, and they did this in the hood. Oh shoot, there's some 16-year-old kid look at me and be like, yo, I want to do that, but I want to do it 10 times better. And I'm like, all right, shorty, well, here's how you do it.
That's a fact.
Just empowering people. That's all. I'm no different from nobody else. I just took a chance. So folks could do the same thing.
I agree. For me to answer that question, what made me want to be an entrepreneur is because when I was younger, I couldn't think of anybody that I wanted to be like. And Jay-Z said he'll never be a product of the environment. He'll never be a product of his environment. His environment will forever be a product of him. So for me, when young people see me, I want to be that light or that piece of leadership. And I want to create that legacy. Like, and I don't never want to sell, even though we are taught in business that you're supposed to sell. I believe, again, people of color have been conditioned to like just quickly sell for money and not worry about the legacy. You know?
Let me jump in for 1 second, because you just triggered something in my mind. We've had a lot of talks in our time.
Yes.
A lot of talks.
Absolutely.
Thousands of them. It just came to my mind. So the other day I'm at the shop, right? So like I'm sweeping out, people are like putting up walls and crap and all kind of dust. I'm just like, I gotta keep sweeping. This white cat walks by with a dog. So, the dog is, so a guy goes, hey, what's going on in here? I'm at a barbershop. He goes, I'm coming here to get my hair cut. And I said, thanks, I appreciate it. He goes, no problem. I'll make sure I come by and I'll support. And I was like, that's cool, man, thank you. And he kept going. And then there's like an old lady that comes by, and she's at the bus stop, and she looks and she goes, hey, what's going on here? I said, it's a bus stop, grandma. And she's like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm going to bring my grandson because he need a haircut. He don't want to get his hair cut. I'm making him get a haircut here. I'm like, okay, cool. And there's people that walk by, they're like, yo, what's this going to be? I'm like, a barbershop. Yo, this is how I'm coming through. So I make that point based on what you just said about, like, when you want to have a business, like why you want to have it is not necessarily for people to wear your sweater. Although this is a hot sweater, and you wore this on purpose?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yo, the message is incredible, but you don't build businesses you want financial gain, but you want to empower people and people to come somewhere or to wear something that's gonna make a difference.
Absolutely.
Like if I'm like, excuse me, white brother, you can't. Listen, we're only cutting black people over here. Like that same dude will feel like, damn, like that's messed up because I just want to support.
Right.
If I say to some brothers like, yo, nah, we don't do dreadlocks here. You can't come in here. It's like, well, damn, like he's not really supportive of what I'm trying to do. He's basically like boxing people who he want to be a part of something. So again, to your statement, when we in our community and we're building, becoming entrepreneurs, we accept everything. We accept everyone. Make people feel comfortable. Absolutely. Yo, you wanna purchase this? Yeah, go ahead. You know what, man? Look, here, throw this T-shirt in for you. Like, listen, give it to your wife, man. Here's a T-shirt. Thanks for purchasing that. Make somebody want to come back.
I think you're absolutely right. And what just came to mind was like a Malcolm X quote, or like something I read on Malcolm X when he was like when you look at the Jew, when you go to their community, you don't see like a soul food spot. Or when you look at Chinaman, like you don't see them selling like jerk chicken. Or like when you look at all these different demographics in these certain areas, like they own their area. They make sure that they control the business that comes within their area. But when you get into people of color's area, or like the poverty-stricken areas of people of color, you see Chinese restaurants, liquor stores, McDonald's, a bunch of things that force us to be consumers, get unhealthy, and die early. And it goes back to people like you being an example. It goes like back to people like me. Like I done had people all over the world thus far for the 4 to 5 years that I've been working on my company wear my sweatshirt or my hoodie or my t-shirt. But the most joy I get is when I see people in my community wear it though. Like when I see the young kids or a mother or a brother, when I'm walking up the street and they just got their Cool for Life shirt on or they sweater on, it make me feel good inside. Cause it's like people that seen you grow up, like people that seen you, mature, they supporting your vision. And it goes the same with me just graduating. Like we love to be like, yo, people within the communities, black people don't support each other. So many people done gave me congratulated me or gave me encouragement over the last couple of days. People, I'm like, yo, how did you even know I graduated? You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's been so much love from elderly, from young people. Like, okay, like good looking, or we appreciate what you're doing, and that gives me motivation to want to do the next big thing or want to make the next big move because that's needed. You need that. That inspires you to want to be better. So my last question, I think we got about. Matter of fact, I only got the last question because we don't got enough time. So quickly, just say how you plan on changing the world. You go first, T.
Oh God, why you keep sticking me first?
Ladies first. Ladies first.
So I'm gonna keep getting stuck with that. Wow. I don't know how I'm gonna change the world, but
how you gonna play your part in changing the world?
Even if it's just one person, I just hope to be able to inspire anyone that feels like they can't, that like they just can't do it, or it's too much of a struggle, and they're never gonna reach their goal. Like you can do it. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take patience. It's gonna take a hell of a lot of support. And I mean, that's pretty much it. I don't know. I don't.
That's good enough. One person.
I mean, one person, because I don't know if I could touch, the whole world, but one person.
Yeah.
Well,
I agree with Teak. She took that. That was the perfect answer. She just basically said the same thing I would have said. One person at a time. Just one at a time.
My answer would be is that it's just you got to believe in yourself, and you got to keep unconditional love in your heart, and positive thoughts and positive words and positive people create positive realities. So if you don't want to experience negativity, you don't want to experience a lot of bad days, and keep yourself away from negative people, negative things, and negative situations. You could do anything you put your mind to as long as you believe so. I thank you, Teak. I thank you, Darnail, for coming out.
You're welcome,
I
and
thank y'all for watching.
me.
I really do appreciate the love. I think that we just need more love in this world. We need more people supporting each other, not just certain demographics of people, but I mean the whole human race. And if we could do that, I think the universe would bless us with more blessings. Yeah, have a good night. We'll talk soon.